Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Sisters Studying Deen, the IOU special. Alhamdulillah, we have with us Sister Naila. Sister, could you please introduce yourself and tell us what made you study at the IOU?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair for inviting me on to speak about this very important topic of sisters seeking knowledge. MashaAllah, barakallah. I am a Instagram, YouTube da'iya. I previously worked as a TV producer for Islamic channel and a host as well, amongst many other things. I have a background in film production. That is my passion. That is my love. But after I found the Deen, dawah was my main focus. Alhamdulillah.
Allahumma barik.
So what made me choose IOU? So I actually studied at IOU about 7 years ago. So I'm a bit old school. It was the Islamic online university back then, National Open University. And I think I found out about it because I was following Dr. Bilal. He's a Canadian revert, much like myself. And I think I just stumbled across it, somehow. And I really loved the kind of ethos that they had. I loved that they based their fees on sort of people's living situations. It was affordable. It was a beautiful mix of online recorded sessions as well as like live classes, and then the exams were taken in person. And I really liked the whole structure of it, alhamdulillah. So, and I could afford it. So that's why I think I got drawn to study at IOU back in the day.
Alhamdulillah. What did you study?
I studied intensive Arabic.
Oh, mashallah. Oh, Allahumma barik. Alhamdulillah. Another Arabic student, sister. Alhamdulillah, that's great. So how did you find the course in general, especially being coming from a revert background?
So a little bit about me when it comes to studies. I am not the typical academic type. People are quite surprised once they get to know me, when they find out that I'm actually a high school dropout. I was never in love with the structure of school. I was never in love with conformity. So I needed something that disciplined me. We have all of these online courses where you kind of have to study on your own. And I don't do well when somebody's not telling me I have to show up at this time, on this date, with my homework done. If I'm left to my own devices, I can find a billion excuses why I'm not going to do it. So I really loved the accountability that was involved with an actual teacher monitoring me. There was a class, and when you have a class, you kind of feel responsible to keep up and not drag people behind and not slow anybody down. So I really liked that every week we would have a live class at the end of the week. It was quite difficult for me because, like I said, I wasn't really an academic type. I didn't love English even very much growing up. So even like English grammar, I'm not very good at. I don't really know what all the words mean. I couldn't define what an adverb is and all these things. Obviously, I know how to use them when I speak, but I wouldn't be able to like break it down for you. So yeah, I found that quite difficult. But I've actually recently considered rejoining because what happened was I did my first semester. I can't remember, but I did a good portion. I took an exam. I did really well, alhamdulillah. And then I gave birth to my daughter. I was pregnant while studying. And when I gave birth, like my entire kind of world went out the window, and I stopped studying. Everything kind of like takes a back burner, and you really are just doing like the bare minimum of worship alone, because you're so tired and stressed and all those things as a first-time mom. So I've actually reconsidered joining again recently. And so I pulled out all my old notes because I still have all the books, like all the printouts and stuff from my course. So I kind of pulled it out and I started relearning lesson 1, but I really like I like the structure. I like the way that it teaches you, you know, the different rules and how the sentences are formed and the different types of sentence structures that exist within Arabic. And yeah, so I'm thinking to maybe join back again because I did really enjoy the course and I really did well in it, which is probably I've taken multiple Arabic courses. I am like a serial Arabic flunker.
You sound just like me. You sound just like me, subhanAllah. Like literally exactly identical. Like I've done so many different courses and I still can't speak Arabic.
I've taken courses. I've been a Muslim now for like 12 years, 11 years, 12 Ramadans. And I have probably taken 5 different Arabic courses across the span of this. I have so many Learn Arabic curriculum books in my bookshelf. It's ridiculous. I feel like I should be an absolute expert in Arabic, and I've just not completed any of them. I do feel that the IOU course is something that I could complete had my circumstances been different, had I not just given birth right after my first, you know, kind of exams. So I do think that, you know, the course structure is very, very well put together. And like I said, it's affordable, you know, it's not going to break your bank to study there, and you're going to get the same kind of, you know, attention and help that you would at a more expensive course as well.
Yeah, definitely. Alhamdulillah. So what would you say, if you can remember, back to that time, what was your kind of study hacks, or your preferred methods of study that kind of really helped you to, you know, buckle down with your work?
I would say having like a structure and a plan for yourself, because you do kind of have for this course at least, you had the week to do the work, and then the live class on the weekend. And so kind of making sure that you spread out that work throughout the week, not only so that you get it all done, but so that it's still fresh on your mind. Because if you do it all on like Monday and then your class is on like Friday, Saturday, you've probably like forgotten half the stuff you learned on Monday. So it's good to like spread it out throughout the week, break it down to make sure that you're not overwhelming yourself with too much knowledge on one day, and you have time to review if you need to. And then just, you know, making sure you have that quiet, good space, making sure that you set your intention before you start. Obviously, everything we do, our intention is the most important thing. So we have to reaffirm ourselves, like, why am I learning Arabic? Now, I'm looking more into it just to increase my ability to give da'wah, my understanding of the Quran to be a bit deeper, my understanding of the hadith to be a bit deeper, so that it will assist me in what I want to do. For the sake of Allah. So it's very important to know why we're doing it and have the right intentions before we even start, and make those dua, you know, ask Allah to make it easy for you. Ask Allah to allow the information to, you know, absorb into your soul, not even your brain, so that it's something that you don't ever let go of or lose, you know, and make it a benefit for you and for all of those who you can impact with it. And then with these du'as, inshallah, everything will be easier.
Inshallah, definitely. So what kind of advice would you give to Muslim women regarding seeking knowledge as like encouragement?
We underestimate ourselves in this dunya, you know. The beautiful phrase that a lot of people hear and say is, you know, women are half the ummah and we raise the other half of the ummah. The beautiful thing about women is that we are not, and it's very interesting because I'm taking another course right now called Wife School. So there's a part in it where she was talking about the expendable sex, right? And women are not the expendable sex, which is why you see in on a boat, if there's a emergency, they say women and children and the life rafts first. You know, and why in war they say this many women and children were killed. They don't really mention the men, even if they weren't soldiers, they were just innocent men, because women are the actual substance that we need more of us in order to sustain society, sustain the ummah, right? And that's because we are the reproducers, we are the natural caregivers. And so our duty extends beyond ourselves. Our own knowledge and learning for ourselves and for our ability to be close to Allah is of the utmost importance. But even further than that, if we are not educated, how are we to educate the next generation? If we don't know our deen, how are we going to pass anything on except our culture to our children? And so our seeking of knowledge is almost more important, if not equally as important, as men seeking knowledge. Men are the imams of the family. They're the leaders of the family, but they're also the ones who are given the responsibility of going out and providing for the family. They don't have that time to really sit down and give hours of dedication to our children. And there's a massive movement now towards homeschooling as the curriculum in our Western schools change to be not really supportive of our beliefs anymore. So a lot of people are actually moving to homeschooling. And how are you going to homeschool anyone if you are not educated yourself? How are you going to go out and if you don't choose to have a family or you can't have a family, how are you going to go out and impact the world, the workforce, the people that you work with, the people that you can influence if you're not educated yourself, if you don't have a strong footing in what you believe? You're going out into the wolves' den without any weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very important not for ourselves first and foremost, for our own protection and our own deen and our own sanity in some sense. And then beyond that, to spread that to other people as well, which is a duty upon all of us as Muslims.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100% agree. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. It's just so many important points you've mentioned there. It's like definitely sums it up nicely. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Barakallahu feekum, sister. Thank you so much for your time today. I've really enjoyed our short but sweet discussion because, mashallah, you gave many beneficial points and definitely good words of encouragement for sisters. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. May I just say that anything that was beneficial was from Allah, and anything that I said that was a mistake was from myself, and I seek forgiveness from Allah and from anyone who is listening if what I said is not of a benefit to them. Ameen.
Ameen. Ameen. Barakallahu feekum, sister. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.